keep saying the Eagles are cap-strapped because every time you do, Howie Roseman goes off. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dingbat here. You know, the thing that I've noticed over the years is that when Howie Roseman has a really aggressive offseason, the Eagles usually have a really, really good year. And despite people trying to tell you the Eagles' days are numbered, their windows are closed, and it's all over, that couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is this: I expect this to be one entertaining offseason. I think the Eagles will be aggressive, and I think when you look at where the big splash is going to come from, I think we know kind of what position, because the Eagles have kind of let it out there over the last few years. Now, we got a lot to talk about, and before we get into that part of it, I do want to talk about these things here, because these are important. Jeff McClain reported this yesterday. He said, sources pound Eagles are bringing back running backs coach Jamal Singleton and wide receivers coach Aaron Moorhead, along with other assistants. Some coaches are also leaving, while others to be determined. Nick Sirianni blends Sean Mannon with some old and offensive formulas. Anyways, where is Kevin Patullo? Did Patullo retire? I mean, did he get fired, or did he just get demoted? Technically, I think he might still be on this team, and he might be back. And if he does come back, I don't know. I think that could be really, really crazy. Okay, I wouldn't have him on this squad. I would let him move on if it was just me. Now, speaking of coming back, we've got a lot of questions. We've got Landon Dickerson. We got Lane. And what about Brandon Graham? Brandon Graham came back out of retirement last year, and I thought he was pretty good, especially after, he started to adjust. And I think he's got at least one more year in him. If he takes a veteran minimum, comes in, is a rotational guy, I think he could be very useful. Bleeding Green Nation reported that Brandon Graham has expressed interest in coming back to the Eagles. And he was on a podcast, and he basically said this. This is what he said, quote, "If Howie makes the call, I'm coming back one more year." So the Eagles, basically, they get Brandon Graham back one more year if they want him. And I think it's good. I like that they could put him inside at some points and times. I think a whole year back, if you limit his snaps a game, and he's a rotational guy, I'm talking third guy, fourth guy, I think it's good. I have no problem with that at all, okay? And as far as the big name, Lane Johnson. Now, Lane, we know Lane still can play. And we know Lane can play at a high level. We also know he's been battling injuries. However, the question is will Lane Johnson come back? And it seems, just like from what we're hearing, seems like the winds are blowing towards him coming back. Here is what Shady McCoy, take it or leave it, what he said about Lane Johnson and him returning.
It'll be a good year for us. Lane Johnson ain't going nowhere. I talked to Lane. He ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere.
No, he ain't going nowhere.
So Shady believes Lane Johnson is coming back, at least for one more year. He says he does not know about Landon Dickerson, and I think that's a great question right now. Will Landon Dickerson be back? And will Cam Jurgens be able to rebound and, get back on track? He had a horrible year, even though he made the Pro Bowl, and I think a lot of it had to do with injuries. I truly do. So it looks like we're getting some guys back, and some good things are on the horizon. I know a lot of people are feeling like, man, everything's just been so tough for us. It's been tough for us since after the Jalen Phillips trade. But I believe good things are ahead. And one thing that was interesting that Adam Schefter said the other day was that the league, and there's going to be a strong push by specifically one team, but probably more, but one team, and I'm guessing that team may be the Eagles. They're going to look to change the rules where you can trade draft picks 3 years down the road. So basically, right now, when a team wants to make a trade, you could go 3 years into the future with draft picks. They want to actually extend that to possibly 5. Could you imagine 5 years? Who would like that? That Eagles, right? Howie Roseman, you give them another 2 years of drafts to start putting in there in the formula. Forget about it. This would be wild. There are NFL teams pushing the league to create a rule allowing teams to trade draft picks from 5 years out per Adam Schefter. Right now, you can't trade picks beyond 3 years. This would open the window for some potentially insane trades. I love this. I would love it to be 5 years. And I think that would benefit the Eagles. I really do, it's just funny to me because, a lot of people act like the Eagles, the window is closed. It's over. It couldn't be further from the truth. The Eagles have some tweaks that they have to do. They have some things they have to get right. But this is a team that, in my opinion, can be right back in the Super Bowl if if they have a good all season. And this is where Howie Roseman comes in. Howie Roseman, when he is aggressive, the Eagles tend to have a really good year that following year. And here's the other thing I'll say. When you hear the people say, well, the Eagles don't have money to sign that guy. The Eagles can't go out and get that guy. They don't have any money. What are you going to do? You're in cap hell. Every time we hear this, that's when Howie Roseman makes a splash. That's when he makes a big move. I don't think it's going to change. We're going to hear it, and then people are going to be wowed as Howie Roseman manipulates the cap, and all of a sudden the Eagles are with 40, 50 million, and everybody's going, what the hell happened? How did they sign Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis? How do they have all this cap money? And Mark Holmes going to lose his mind and say blah, 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 blah. The Eagles will, it's going to come back and haunt them in 30-35. Just wait till 30-35, or 20-35 rather. But in all seriousness, I think this is a off season in which Howie Roseman is going to be aggressive. I think, one, you have to kind of be aggressive offensively because you've got a brand new offense, a brand new offensive scheme, and you're going to have to go out there and get the right pieces. Some of the players on this team may not fit what the Eagles want to do next year offensively, and we just don't know yet, and we don't know exactly how that's going to look, but they're going to have some idea. And I really think that we're going to see a push in the draft early to go offense. I do think they'll sign some guys in free agency, but I think we're going to see a heavy offensive draft. And then I think free agency is going to be a heavy defensive signing. But, we'll see how it goes. It could maybe be the complete opposite because you have a new offensive coordinator. And let me say this also while I'm at it about the offensive coordinator. I know a lot of people are worried about the changes, worried about a guy with no experience, that hasn't called plays, all that kind of stuff. I got to tell you, I like it. I actually like that we're going with somebody who's young, who has maybe new ideas, who has a lot of upside, instead of a recycled offensive coordinator. I really think this will be a good change. And also, it really puts Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts at the center. There's no more excuses. There's nothing. We're going to know. Was it Nick Sirianni? Was it Jalen Hurts? And I like that. I like that we're going to get some answers with this team this year. So I'm all for the changes, and I'm going to be patient. Of course, I would have loved to have Stoutland back, but let me tell you, the sky is not falling. All right, we are not done. It is far from over. Okay, I expect the Eagles to be pretty aggressive this all season. And people ask me, where do I think the Eagles are going to make the big splash? Where do I think it's going to be? I actually think it's edge rusher. And I think a lot of that may have to do with what happens with Jalen Phillips. But even if Jalen Phillips stays, I would not be shocked if you get a guy like Nolan Smith getting moved or something, because I think if you look at the last few years, I think one of the telltale signs that the Eagles have been trying to get an elite pass rusher is to look at all the guys that have really gone after. I mean, last year they went after Micah Parsons. It's clear as day they went after Micah Parsons. Then during the trade deadline, well, I should actually go back. In the off season, they tried to get Myles Garrett. Remember when Myles wanted to trade? Then they tried to get Micah Parsons, and they tried. Then at the trade deadline, they offered was it 2 or 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. So then they tried to get Myles Garrett again, got Jalen Phillips. That was the best that they could do at the time. And now we're in a spot where I think if you look at what they really want to add, I think they want to add an elite pass rusher. And if they bring Jalen Phillips back, maybe that they'll go a different way. But I'm not sure he's coming back. I really think it's 50-50. And I think a guy like Maxx Crosby, I think he's in play. Myles Garrett, I wouldn't consider him an elite pass rusher, but he's got a lot of upside. He's decent. Kevon Thibodeau, he could be on the trade block. I'm not saying the Eagles would trade for him. I'm just saying there are going to be names out there. And when you look at what the Eagles want to do and what they've tried to do the last few years, they've tried to allow or tried to get an elite pass rusher. Could you imagine a Maxx Crosby on this team with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? I mean, Jordan Davis has taken things to another level. It would be a really, really tough defensive line. So I think the big splash is coming. I think it's going to be a pass rusher, and I think at least they're going to make an attempt and they're going to try. Because history over the last 2 years has told us they're not just going for some decent guys or guys that are good. They're going for elite. And I expect that not to change this offseason. With that said, take care. I will talk to you guys later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Oh, poor Mark. Poor Mark has been losing his mind. But can he answer this question? Denzel Washington, out.
Where's Dak?
That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.